Cessation of suffering is to know the suffering as false. Cessation of suffering is the cessation of the confidence that you place in your suffering. Cessation of suffering is not the same as the stopping of something real. Cessation of something is just like waking up from a dream. Cessation of something, of suffering, is just like getting rid of an imagination. That is why the word nirvana is so beautiful. It does not mean that you reach into another elevated or holy state. It means that your burning has ceased. You are burning internally. And now the flame is gone. Suffering does not occur without your active consent. Can you be happy without being full of acceptance for a situation? And your acceptance comes from your expectations. Can you suffer without being full of resistance for a situation? You suffer only when you do not want something to happen. Am I right? Your resistance is the suffering. And who is it that resists? The one who feels himself to be threatened, insecure, small. So he resists. He says, oh, if this happens, then I am in danger. So let me resist. The moment you resist, suffering starts. Suffering itself is a concept based on another concept. The mother concept is I am small. I am small, a concept, hence I must resist, another concept. I resist and I am unable to defeat that which I resist, so I suffer, another concept. Do you see how the whole chain flows? At the center of all this lies a perception that you are limited. Unless you are limited, you have no reason to feel inflated because of something, and hence you cannot be tied to pleasure. And unless you are small, you have no reason to be afraid of something, and hence you can have no reason to resist. Then you stand in front of the winds, open-chested, and you say, come what may. I'm not resisting anything because nothing is so powerful that it can influence me or defeat me. No, you're not resisting. Now the universe is flowing into you and then through you. You are a part of everything. Do you see this? I'm again asking you, can there be suffering without resistance based on self-preservation? There can be a lot of pain, we agree, of course. But can there be suffering? Suffering is always psychological. Suffering is always tied to your inner sense of well-being. Suffering is related to the question, who am I? Pain is a fact. You can be in a lot of pain. But suffering is always dependent on whether you live a real or an imaginary life. The one who really lives cannot suffer. And do not take me wrongly. Pain and pleasure will still come to him. You might find him in tears. You might find him groaning and grimacing, but he would still not be suffering. Psychologically, he would still be healthy. Even in the moment of the greatest threat or even the greatest deprivation, he would still not be feeling bad about himself. I know that's loose language, but I hope you are getting what I mean to communicate. Hmm? There is no way you can avoid pain if a rock hits your shoulder. Hmm? But you very well know what it means to suffer. You can say it's a conspiracy of the universe against you and suffer. You can say you were born especially unfortunate and suffer. You can say your guru hasn't blessed you, so you got this and suffer. And there are n other ways. This mind is very fertile. It is just that it yields only one kind of crop. It is suffering. Hmm? Man is a creature of imagination. That is probably the difference between man and the rest of existence. Man alone lives in thoughts. Man alone is intellectual. The others live. We live intellectually. It's we who have a tail. The tail is the intellect. What do you think? Animals have tails? No. They just live. We live and then comes the tail. I don't know when man will be able to drop that tail. Evolution has failed.
In fact, people have been proud of carrying that tail now.
Carrying that tail. Monkeys have no tails. Man has a tail.
Are humans supposed to live just like?
Even when you say supposed to, do you see the assumption contained here? That there is some power outside of you that will come and dictate, come and decree how you are supposed to live. What do you mean by supposed to live? Who is the authority outside of you that will declare how you are supposed to live? But that is the sense of inferiority that we have internalized. We ask, am I supposed to live this way? And who will answer that? But this mind is dominated by the corporations, the media, religions, priests, mothers, fathers, teachers, books, scriptures, markets, ideologies. And when we say, am I supposed to do this? It is their sanction that I seek. Can someone bigger than myself, outside of myself, please approve? Can one of the holy books please come and grant their sanction? Am I aligned with one of the accepted ideologies? This is what you mean by, am I supposed to just live? As long as you will ask this, you are not living. Living is not a favor that somebody grants you. By virtue of your being, you are free to live. Free to live and free to live freely. You need nobody's approval. No God has the power to sanction your being. If you are, you are. And who can deny that? We have become so burdened, so indebted, so differential, that even to breathe, we require permission. Even to love, we require somebody's approval. Even to be, we seek acceptance in somebody else's eyes. Don't we?
So this quote, you'll have to look at yourself as you are. When we say as you are, one, we have this idea, and one, as you say, you're perfect, the way you are. How to understand this? Like what to do?
Unless you know yourself to be perfect, you cannot look at yourself as you are. If you have an idea of how you should be, you know what perfection means? Perfection means it is all right the way it is. And what does an idea of yourself say? It is all right only if it is this particular way. Perfection is very dynamic and flexible. Perfection says, whichever way it is
Okay.
perfect. Which means you have all the freedom to be in diverse ways. Ideal says it is all right only if it is
This
in one particular way. Now, if you look at yourself with an eye full of ideals, then you will want yourself to be aligned to that ideal. So your vision would be compromised, manipulated. You would have a stake. You would be an interested party. I'm saying, I'm looking at my face, and my ideal is that my face should be green. Some ideal. Now I look at my face and I find it blue. What would happen? The ideal says, unless your face is green, you are not worthy of living. And I look at my face and I find it blue. What would happen? Would I simply accept that the face is blue? I would say, no, 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 it is bluish green or greenish blue, or it is blue turning fast into green. Do you see how I would cleverly manipulate the situation? I would not be able to look at myself as I am. I will not be able to do that. But if I know that all is perfect, then I look at my face and I see green or yellow or brown or magenta, and I have no compulsion, no pressure upon myself to manipulate or to misreport. I say, oh, it is violet. It is violet and perfect. The next moment I say, oh, it is yellow. Yellow and perfect. Because perfection is flexible. Because perfection means that in this vast space, wherever you are still in the space. So there is no way you can go away from home. You are always in perfection. There is no way you can be denied home. You may be a saint or a sinner, you still are perfect. You may remember or you may forget, you are perfect. So it is blue and perfect. Someday it is colorless and perfect. Now you can look at yourself as you are and just state it that way. So, to know a fact as a fact first requires a tremendous confidence upon yourself. Otherwise, you will not report the fact as fact. Otherwise, you will enter the zone of what you call as creative journalism. They look at something and they send back a very imaginative version of what they have looked at. Do you get it? So only when you are powered by the truth, only when you have no imagination that you have strayed away from the truth, then you get the sureness to know the fact, to acknowledge the fact simply and directly, without a need to distort it.
This is also a very violent attitude towards the blue or the violet.
Of course, of course, of course. Because you see, we are creatures of change. You are violet now, and blue the next moment, and then green, and then red. If your perfection is an ideal, it can never be able to take into account your infinitely diverse nature. The emptiness that we are manifests itself in an infinite diversity. If you are tied to some part of that diversity, you will miss the whole.
Yes.
Then you will say, I am good only when I am behaving mercifully. But existence also sometimes requires you to hit really hard. Then you will reject yourself. Then you will fall in your own eyes. You will say, I am good only when I am abstaining from, let's say, physical gratification. But existence has it that one day you will find yourself in physical embrace with someone. Then you will again fall in your own eyes. And then you will look for perfection. Then you will ask for forgiveness from the God, which means the priest. Do you see this?
Explain blue screen. Blue screen.
If I had, if I have the leukemia, if I have cancer,
Cancer.
I could say, okay, it's perfect. I am cancer. But by the way, I could want to change it to
Yes, of course.
yes.
So
That's
I am
not
the
is
one
that
who
is
wants to change it, and this want is I am the one who wants to change this situation, and this want is
Also,
okay, perfect.
okay.
Perfect.
Doesn't mean that, yeah, everything is perfect and I stay there.
Yes, yes, it does not mean that you have to be a status quoist. When I'm talking of the infinite diversity
Yeah.
that we are, of course, those infinite diversities, the various currents keep mingling into each other. It's a process of continuous change. And in that, desire is included. So if I'm desirous, it is perfect. It is perfect. It's a subtle thing. We must go into it.
Choice.
I am desiring to change the situation, knowing fully well that the situation is perfect. Knowing fully well that blue is perfect, today I decide that I want green. And who is anybody to tell me that I must not want that? The green leaf, doesn't it turn yellow and then brown and then soil? Who are you to tell the leaf that the brown is any less perfect than the green? Today green, tomorrow yellow, the day after it is brown, and then it is a part of the soil. Change is happening all the time. But all the change is contained in perfection. I repeat this. You do not want to change something so that it may become perfect. Our attitude usually is, it is not perfect, I want to change it so that it may become perfect. What I'm saying is, everything is already contained in perfection, now let's change. It's like all these posters, they are already contained in this hall. Now let's change their location. Let's pick one from here and put there. And doesn't matter where you put one thing or the other. It is always going to be within this hall. Doesn't matter what you desire to change. All desires and the pre-state and the post-state, all are going to be within perfection. Which means that I am never going to say that I am trying to make something perfect. You get this? So it is already good, now let's throw it away.
It's like
It's already perfect, now let's discard it totally. Let's come up with something new. Why? Maybe just for fun. If perfection includes everything, perfection also includes the right to refuse perfection. Blue was perfect, but now I want a little bit of yellow. May I have it, please? Who are you to declare me a sinner because I want yellow? That doesn't mean, by the way, that yellow is any more perfect than blue. No, I'm not saying that. Not at all. Blue is perfect and so is yellow. Yes, please.
yeah,
Hmm.
like you see a pattern
Yes.
and you see this pattern and you see it happening again, and but you are either too satisfied with it, too content with whatever the pattern has given, or you are too dissatisfied. Maybe either of them. You want to break free of this pattern to maybe like it is green and you want to go into yellow. You don't know what is the new pattern. Okay, you just have a glimpse. Just, okay, maybe this is what is. How to like, what
Feel
feel?
greatly contented with the pattern.
feel greatly contented with the pattern.
With the pattern itself.
Existing or
With the existing pattern. There is nothing else. Everything else is the imagination.
new coming.
There is the pattern, and there are you, the carrier of the pattern, the expression of the pattern. It's all right. Who am I? The one who lives in patterns. It's all right. The pattern gets energy from your resistance to the pattern. Within the pattern, remain okay. Within the pattern, remain okay. The day and the night are patterns. Such beautiful patterns. What's wrong with them? The child, the young man, the old man, and the death are all patterns. Are they not? To eat, to excrete, to eat again, to assimilate. Are all these not patterns? Live with the pattern and know the pattern as pattern.
Don't change anything.
Don't attempt to change anything. Change is the law of universe. Just as this pattern came from somewhere, it will go somewhere. It is held in its place. It is tied to you by your own resistance. You know, resistance is attachment. We all live in patterns. There is nobody here who is not wedded to some kind of pattern. What do you do with them? Nothing. Oh, pattern. Yes, pattern. That perfect pattern again. I realize perfectly that I live in patterns. And be not concerned about what will follow or replace the pattern. It may be nothing, it might be another pattern. What does it matter? All is within the sky, all is within space, all is within the hall. You might be a very restless bird, but will you flow out of the sky? Ever seen a bird that flew out of the sky? With all your restlessness, you will keep flying within the sky. All your restlessness is nothing, it's a child's game. You are the bird, you are the sky. Keep flying. It is not so difficult. You will see that it is possible to be contented along with the existence of the pattern. You must not make your contentment contingent upon the disappearance of the pattern. The pattern will be there and you would still be contented. These would be parallel. It is possible. The limited span of the wings and the infinitude of the sky, they are both possible parallelly and together. The pattern will be there and your infinite contented nature will be there, both coexisting.
I've seen that it is mainly with me or maybe other ones also fear that prevents you from looking at the blue. looking at what you really are, fear.
Yes.
And that also becomes an engine to run towards the ideal.
Yes. And the fear that we have is always the fear of an object. Our fear is never just a fear. You fear something, and if you go deep into your consciousness, you'll be able to dig that out. You fear the authorities who told you that you must be green, and hence you fear to look at yourself when you are blue. You must be free of your investment in those authorities who keep promoting part living, who keep saying that this particular way of living is the right one. They are the ones who promote the greens and the violets at the cost of the rest of the spectrum. You see this? Till the time you give those authorities acceptance, validation, strength, approval, the right to be authority, till the time you internally keep bowing down to them, you will find that your life remains divided. A narrow part you will accept, the rest you will reject. But who can partition the sky? Who can tell the bird to not to fly to that particular part of the sky? The bird will fly. It is the bird's nature to fly. And then you will curse the bird, abuse the bird, and say that the bird needs to taught enlightenment.
Sir, even if I don't give authority to somebody outside of me, I still have this ego. I am ego. I live with it.
Where did it come from? Did it come from your core?
Outside.
So you have already given authority to someone outside of you if you have given authority to the ego. The ego is not yours. The ego is the world sitting inside you. It is a dangerous thing to give authority to a person, an ideology, a thought, an institution, a religion, a cult, something. It is a dangerous thing to do that. But it is even more dangerous to vest authority in yourself. Because now those things that were outside and clearly and obviously outside have made way into your psyche. You internalize them. You are calling them your own. And when you call something your own, you allot to it all your energy, all your sense of belongingness. You say it is mine. It is my opinion. It is not your opinion at all. It is somebody else's. But given that now you are embracing it, you will protect it far more.
Can I say that guilt is very much similar to fear?
Of course. One very well knows the relation between them. One very well knows that they coexist and they are part of the same phenomenon.
So, is the conflict between understanding and conditioning a continuous process? Like every time a situation comes, something understands that it's okay, but conditioning always heals, and then comes suffering.
I will not say a day will come when this will stop. As of this moment, as of today, it suffices to say that it is continuous. The moment I say no, it is not continuous, one day the conflict will stop. You will start looking forward to that day. And that day will become the day of judgment or day of enlightenment for you. So, be alright, be contented even with the conflict. There is a conditioned part of you, and there is that part which you call as the understanding part, and you see them in conflict. Let the conflict be there. Even with the conflict, remain all right. It is not difficult. There is no method in this. Huh? Have you ever had a bad churning in the stomach?
Having
Is it not possible to remain all right even with it?
yes, it is possible.
Same way. There is no great method.
It is possible.
One part of you is up in arms against the other part. And some foreign stuff too has invaded you, some bacteria, something. And so there are many parties now. It's a multipolar contest.
There are
You can still be all right, right? Let the things fight, and when it is your turn to heave a sigh or to, groan a little, do that. What can you do? Or maybe go and use the loo and come back.
this like you have this challenge,
Yeah.
you have problem,
You have a problem.
and you stay at a place or you stay in an environment where it is not, you feel very uncomfortable. You have a lot of aversion to, oh my God, what to do. You try to, okay, there is an aversion and I will try to, but then you're not able to, you want to go to loop or you want to change the environment. Should you change the environment?
Be comfortable
You try
with
to-
not being comfortable, and be comfortable when you want to challenge the discomfort. If you're not comfortable, you have only two options. Either you keep living in it, or you challenge it and try to change it. Be comfortable in both the situations. It's all right. You are feeling restless with your stomach, and you are still continuing to sit. Be peaceful with the sitting. And a moment comes when you get up and walk towards the loo. Be peaceful with the decision to go away. Do you get this? You need not say that only in a particular way of operating, only in a particular way of living, only by taking a particular decision do I get the right to feel all right. You must be all right with yourself when you're sitting here, and you must also be all right with yourself when you get up and walk away. All of that must happen within the sky of contentment. It is already happening in the sky of contentment. Just that we think a little too much.
So this is like so tricky of operating
It is
pattern.
tricky only when you think about it. If you think about it, it is trickier than you can imagine. In fact, it is so tricky that you will never be able to come to terms with it. It is so tricky that you by yourself can never really operationalize it. It can be executed, it can happen only on its own. You interfere and you will fall to the trick.
If I interfere with an objective to implement this, then I end up becoming insensitive.
The moment you enter, you have entered only because you are not contented. Otherwise, why will you enter? So your entry itself is the defeat. It is not that what you will do post entering will be the defeat. The very decision to enter is the defeat. Do you get this?
So the question that is coming, how not to enter, but I know this is a futile question.
So because you are already all right, why do you want to enter? And if you must enter, enter again in peace. All right, I have entered. I am habituated to enter. So I enter. Even as I enter in peace. Not with the objective to get peace. I enter in peace, not aiming peace.
It's like you are not content here because of the peace environment. You go to you, and automatically you feel peace. It's, the only thing is you know that okay, if I go to which is the loop.
You know and you are peaceful. You do not know, you are still peaceful. You are highly agitated and you are still peaceful. Your peace is greatly disturbed and you are still peaceful. That's the knack. Hmm?
There is that corner that knows that there is agitation and that stays away from that agitation.
And by saying this so cleverly, you have lost it. And it is still perfect. Do not try to conceptualize it. You will never get on top of it. The bird will never have wings large enough to span the sky. Never. Hmm?
And sir, this is what I said. When one conceptualizes it and then tries to implement it, then once one ends up having an insensitive relationship with it.
Yes.
You are completely
Yes, yes. You are operating then in some other universe. You don't have a relationship actually. And if you see some kind of relationship, it is purely coincidental. It is not happening. You are assuming.
basically, if I've got right,
Imaginary.
what we have been talking about is equanimity.
Yes.
And once conceptualized, it becomes, let's say, jata.
Yes.
We become
Yes.
completely insensitive to it. And
Equanimity would become indifference.
very easy.
Very easily.
क्या है सर वो, because this is a personal mission. What is that thin line?
Live it fully. Live it fully. The fear that comes to you when you express that living force within yourself is the fear of death. You are alive so that the body and mind can express the self, the great core. That is the only purpose of this body and mind, to continuously express the greatness that you are. And that greatness is not a thing of concept. When I say great, now do not start thinking of greats. That which you are continuously expresses itself. That which you are not continuously strives for its life. Live fully. There is no reason to hold yourself back.
And one holds himself back mainly because of fear.
Mainly because of fear. Only because of fear.
Fear and ideal.
Ideas.
These two have been.
Oh, they are greatly related.
क्या है?
Nothing, just life. Just life.
One is there is planning. You have to plan it. Okay, I have to go to maybe it's like, and I know that okay from my experience that okay this is and does help or something, and there is a plan that I have to go there. And one is you are here, even with discomfort, you're okay. You come to nature and you're okay. One part of mind says, okay, I have to go to you maybe. And one part is saying, okay, here, this is okay. should you forget about your planning to go to moon? And
It depends. All of these things you have complete freedom to sometimes
Freedom,
remember,
yes.
sometimes forget. In all these matters, you have all the leeway to go this way or that way.
it is, that is what it is. Very, sometimes it is very.
See, tell me, within your own house, do you think so much before entering one room or the other? If you are in your own house, does it really matter to you so much? Do you seek the advice of gurus? Should I enter the drawing room or the kitchen or the loo or the bedroom or stay in the central hall? Does it matter to you so much?
It's your own conditioning.
So, wherever you want to go, do go.
Yes.
You stay within your own house. One day you may decide to go there, the other day you may decide to go there. How does it matter? And when it doesn't matter, you have complete freedom.
Sir, I'm a bit confused now. There are two situations. One is when I am agitated or in fear and everything. So now I know, I don't know if I know it totally or it's just verbal, that it's me who is giving fire to it if it's burning. So there is this, and then the other thing that living totally in fear in order to get through it. How does the two happen? Well, how to operate at all? Am I?
Live in fear. Sometimes fear does come. Live in fear. Do not become fearful. Let fear come. Experience it. Fear is nothing but the experience of fear. Let it come. See that even in the middle of fear, you can still retain your well being.
Does not. It's a difficult thing to do. I mean,
It is most difficult, rather impossible to do. You place great confidence upon yourself, who cannot be relied upon, and you place no faith upon that which can be totally relied upon. So immediately you start talking the language of doing. Who will do? You?
Just be. Let what come. Because fear is also a conditioning. It is like your assumption that this is fear. Otherwise,
You must have the ability to be and to operate as a healthy being even in the middle of sicknesses and difficulties and imperfections. Hmm? And there is no limit to it. You can carry it to an extreme.
A bigger problem than fear is the idea that you should not be fearful.
Beautiful. And that is an ideal. That is an imagination of perfection. You must be courageous. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means there is something untouched by fear, bigger than fear. Fear is there. You might be trembling in fear. Yet, there is something more important. This sense of knowing that there is something more important than all the difficulties and all that which is going wrong is extremely important. Otherwise, you simply lose perspective. That's a beautiful word, perspective. You must know what is it that is significant, important.
And for that you require a little bit trust upon yourself.
Of course, of course.
And that won't ever come till the point you don't trust what is.
What is?
And
What
you are
is?
too much worried about.
Yeah, you
Infatuated
you're getting
with
it. Yes,
the
of
ideal.
course, of course.
Too much infatuation with the ideal, no contact with the real, and thus no trust upon yourself,
All
thus
these what we are-
resistance,
Yes, yes, yes.
thus fear.
Yes, yes. All this is one stuff. You. It is not difficult. It is not impossible. You see, at this moment, we all know how important it is to record this session. But at this moment, we very well know both of these are discharged. Nobody charged them. And nobody has taken care to put a mic in this. So this session de facto is lost. But does that mean that I should bother about that?
It happens.
It happens. It is happening. And we are all right in middle of that. You get this. It is not difficult, not impossible in any way.
Because understanding a conflict within and slowly understanding that it's stupid to be conflicted with that creates more conflict, because once I suffer, I get to a point where I just let go, again it starts. And again you let go, again it starts.
It will start again and again. Do not ever think that it is going to come to an end in the future.
It seems my capacity is increasing today.
Yes.
So it seems that if I understand, I have to take more.
Yes.
So I don't want
That's
to
the
understand.
reward of knowing.
So I don't want to understand.
That's rather childish.
It's like the patterns remain, but your reaction is.
See, this world will remain as it is. You are a limited being, a limited body. You are aging. You are moving towards death. Are you not?
Yeah.
All of us are. Now, can there be a bigger hell than this? To be moving towards death each moment? People think that in the future lies enlightenment. For sure, in the future lies death. Can there be a bigger hell than this? It is what it is. Now what do you want to do? Cry hoarse? Curse the heavens? Attempt suicide?
Once kind of things start becoming clear, Even if you want to run away, you cannot run away.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Because it's like you're stuck in understanding, which is very weird.
And sometimes you do run away, which is again very stupid and still perfect.
And then, but that thing is there, right? It becomes a cage in a different way. So it's very difficult.
A perfect cage.
I don't know.
Change what you can, accept what it is. What is.
Change whatever you want to and whatever you can. You have all the freedom to go play around and create a mess. You have all the freedom to do whatever you want to do. It's all yours. At the most, you will die in the mess that you will anyway. Let none of this encroach upon your fundamental, essential stillness. The world is a chaotically, randomly moving affair, or at least that's how it appears. Some may come and say there is a great harmony, a great peace, and they are equally right. It doesn't matter how you look at the universe, one thing is certain, there is a flow. In the middle of that flow, you are still. You are still. It doesn't matter how it flows, it doesn't matter where it goes, it doesn't matter from where it comes. Stillness is the essence of the flow. Right? What does that mean? You can flow freely. When you very well know that stillness is the essence of the flow, then you need not arrest yourself from flowing. Then you need not dictate a particular type or kind of flow. Then you need not say that there is virtue in one kind of flow and sin or vice in another kind. Then you give yourself the freedom, the authority, the license to just flow. Yes? And when you just flow, you do not know whether you are flowing or still. It is one. To flow freely is the same as being absolutely still. You get this? It is your resistance to the flow which is still alright.
Like, then the dualities. Like one is to craving, the attachment to, one is aversion to noise. And you see that there is noise, and you see what is disturbing me is my aversion to the noise and not the flow of the water. So what you do is, okay, let me try to be still, let me try to find peace, even in the noise. You do it for some time, but then the noise overpowers.
And you are not obliged to bear the noise.
Yeah.
In the noise, you are alright if you bear the noise, and you are still alright if
You want
you
to go out. That is it.
let spirituality not tell you that you must be in the noise and bear it and then say that you are alright with the torture. If you are in noise, you are alright. And if you happen to get up and rebel, it is still alright.
Now you say for example, you come to know that okay, if I go to Devrag where there is Sangam, there will be noise, and I don't like noise. So it is like fear of going to Devrag. You know that there is noise here, and if I go there, I will not like the noise, even though I can manage, I can find my peace and everything is okay. So you try to go, you stay, remain away from Devrag. It's okay.
For a while. You see, this mind is quite flippant. How long will you stay away from Dev? The very fact that you're thinking about Dev
Yes.
will take you someday to Dev. As long as you stay away, not feeling too bad about yourself. The day you decide to go, go without feeling defeated.
Sure.
Back yourself. Not feeling like going, not feeling like. One day you feel like going, not feeling like going. Back yourself, support yourself. There's no need to censor yourself every step. You are no authority to censor yourself. It is not that censoring itself is problematic. It is just that the entity that is trying to assume the authority of censorship has no authority at all.
Like
The pot is calling the kettle black. Have you heard that? Who are you to pronounce judgment upon yourself?
like in campus, there used to be these parties, like really extravagant parties. So, they, in front of me there used to be two options: either I would go or I would not. So, like for 2 years, I tried both. In both the cases, I would feel bad. Because if I won't go, I mean, it would call me. If I would go, I'll feel bad.
Just go. Or don't go. Don't vacillate. Don't fret. Don't hang about.
That's why I just say don't vacillate. Either go or don't go.
Okay, vacillate and still feel all right. This end is all right, the opposite end is all right, and everything in between is also all right. Is that better?
In all of this, it seems that I made a decision. And that there's something in there.
Your decision is a decision only if it differentiates. You come and say, you are a sinner, and I decide that you are all right. You come and say that you are a saint, and I decide that you are all right. Now, does my decision mean anything? So keep deciding, but let the decision always be one. Decide if you are habituated to deciding. So the curtains are falling now.
So you're stuck in a point where your old ambitions are fulfilled and you don't know, you want to do something, but you're trying to find which is it's a process. Not knowing complete, having faith. This is what causes this disturbed. You want to reach the undisturbed phase, but this disturbance is because of the unknown, lot of unknowns which come up. Even if you have faith, you're not used to this kind of. That is when you come to the faith that you can be better.
And even if you don't do better, it is still always still out.